Good morning. Thank you all for joining. We will give just a moment to clear the waiting room and make sure that folks have connected to audio. Give just another moment as we're still clearing the waiting room. As a reminder, when you do enter, please remain on mute unless or until you are providing testimony before the board. Good morning. This is a hearing before the licensing board for the city of Boston. Today is Tuesday, September 10th, 2024. Today's hearing is being held pursuant to temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. Today's hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. We are joined this morning by Commissioner Liam Curran and Commissioner Kiana Saxon. Please ensure that your audio and visuals are working properly when you are providing testimony. I will call each item in the order that it appears on this morning's agenda. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the licensee, who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department, and whether there are any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify. I will then swear in all parties. After that, the police report will be read into the record, and the licensee or their representative will have the opportunity to make a brief statement, followed by questions by the commissioners. All testimony will be limited only to those individuals with firsthand personal knowledge of the alleged incident. Begin with the first item on this morning's agenda, calling item number 1, Tate Holding LLC, doing business as Tate Bakery and Cafe, located at 80 Boylston Street. Date of the incident, January 20th, 2024. Aggravated assault and battery on premise, staff on staff. This was an assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, a knife, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 9, and failure to call police and 911 in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 9. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Stephen. With me this morning also is Chef Robert Fagan, and I haven't seen yet, but attorney Charlotte Patila is also expected. I'm not sure if she's on yet.
Sure. Okay, great. Who was the first witness you mentioned?
Chef Robert Fagan. I did see him on.
Yes, I see the name. Mr. Fagan, if you're planning on testifying, if you could please turn your camera on. There we go. Great. Thank you very much. Great. Perfect. Thank you very much. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective Mark Walsh.
Thank you, Detective. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
I don't believe so.
Thank you. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Detective Walsh. If you could please read the police report to the record of the board.
About 4:58 p.m. on Saturday, January 20th, 2024, Officer Scroggins responded to a radio call to investigate a person at 253 Meridian Street, East Boston. Upon arrival, the officer spoke with Federico Elzade, the victim, and a Spanish speaker. Mr. Elzade stated that about 12:30 p.m. while working at Tate Bakery and Cafe at 80 Boylston Street, he verbally argued with the suspect, Juan Macias. And the victim stated that when he was asked to be respected by the suspect suddenly stabbed him in the head with a knife. The victim stated that if he didn't grab the suspect's arm, he would have stabbed him multiple times, and his face was covered in full of blood. The officer observed a wound at the top of the left side of the victim's forehead. The victim was told by his chef supervisor, Robert, to go to the hospital and say to the doctor that it was an accident and not to mention the fight was at work. The victim stated that he went to the neighborhood health center in East Boston. And when the doctor discharged him, he received a call from his chef supervisor, Mabel, telling him that he was fired from work. And on the follow-up investigation, myself, I went to Tate Bakery at around 1 o'clock on January 21st, 2024. And I issued a license premise violation number 017476 to the supervisor, Francesco Suarez. And it was for the following violations. And they were accepted without incident. And he was cooperative throughout the investigation. It was failure to notify the Boston Police via 911 and aggravated assault employee on employee.
Thank you, Detective Walsh. Attorney Miller, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, Detective. Did you ever interview Mr. Alzadi?
I spoke with him over the phone and with a translator from a Spanish speaking officer, and he did not want to go forward at this time, I believe. I was supposed to get some additional information from one of the managers at Tate Bakery in regards to a good address for the suspect, Mr. Macias.
Yeah. And
I was going to call him in for a hearing.
okay. Did Tate cooperate with you as far as, did you request videos and have they provided you a video?
I believe I got the video. Yes, it was via email.
And Tate was cooperative in anything you asked for, is that correct?
Anyway, I think they were just unaware of what the procedure was as far as the licensed premise procedures were. So, you know, we educated them, you know, about what they were supposed to do and how they're supposed to call accordingly, especially if, you know, any type of assaults involving employees and of that nature. It's just like a regular incident. As
Thank you.
far as, you know, something happens, call 911, and you know, everybody involved will be I believe covered in a sense.
Detective, thank you very much. I appreciate your candor. Commissioners, with me this morning is referred to in the police report, Robert Fagan, Chef Fagan's a district manager. I think Attorney Patillo is joining. She has the dual role as an in-house counsel along with being an HR supervisor. Excuse me. If it hasn't arrived already within the next 20 minutes or so, we will have a video delivered to you, the video that we have from that day and the incident, along with the internal incident report and a receipt showing that Chef Fagan called a Lyft car and escorted Mr. Alzadi to the car to send him to the East Boston Health Center. This is certainly just by background. Tate is a cafe bakery, no alcohol licenses, has multiple locations in and around Boston. They have hundreds of employees and have been in business for a long time. This is a first for them. Certainly an unforeseen incident. They took, as soon as they were aware, Mr. Pulham, who's the cafe manager, was aware of the altercation. He notified the other management team. They took immediate action to address Mr. Alzadi's injury and also separate the parties to make sure that it didn't flare up again, and to interview the parties. the, they certainly addressed the incident. You can see from the incident report, Mr. Federico responded that there was not a knife involved and that he was hit with this is done, report based on interviews at that time, that he was hit with the blunt end of either a knife or a fork. But regardless of that, as the detective said, Mr. Alzadi is not very fluent in English. Mr. Fagan, Jeff Fagan, who's the district manager, when he sent him to, at his request to the East Boston Health Center, he said to make sure you let them know that this was that this occurred at work and that it would be fully covered by insurance. He obviously, something was lost in the translation where he said to the police that he was told not to say that it was a fight. And I think the gist of it was to make sure that the health center knew that this would be totally covered. It was an unforeseen incident. They addressed it as quickly as possible. You can see from the incident report, they interviewed everybody. What they didn't do is call the police. And as the detective said, he made them fully aware, as did this firm, that in any case like this, that call the police and let the police deal with it. So they have taken steps to make sure that every management member in all the locations is aware that in anything similar to this, that they would call the police. But in this particular case, this was unforeseen. It was the first time in all these years with hundreds of employees that anything like this happened. They thought they took appropriate action to deal with the incident and get the injured party medical. But once again, we did not call the police. Mr. Fagan's here if you want to ask him any questions along. I think maybe Attorney Patillo was here, but I asked her to be here because she was the one who spent the time interviewing all the employees and prepared the incident report, which you will have a copy of this morning. Thank you. As I said, Mr. Fagan's here if you have any questions.
Thank you. And just briefly, Ms. Patilla, are you here as counsel or are you here providing witness testimony? You have not been sworn in yet, if you'll be providing testimony to the board.
I believe I'm here to provide testimony just about the HR pieces of this.
Great. If so, could you please just raise your right hand so we can swear you in? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Is there testimony you wanted to provide to the board before we move to questions from Commissioner Carr and Commissioner Saxon? Okay, in that case, we will move to questions. Commissioner Carr, any questions?
So my first question for the licensee would be, speaking to both of these employees, is there anything in your documentation or experience that would have gave you pause that this might happen with these employees?
Charlotte or Robert, was there anything prior that would have indicated that this could have happened? I'm sorry, Commissioner, not to interrupt you.
Yeah, no worries. I didn't mean to interrupt you as well. And it's either individually or their interactions with each other. If there's anything you can speak to.
No.
I spoke with both chefs who oversee them and said that they did not receive complaints about either employee prior to this incident. I know that came up subsequent to this incident, that one of them claimed that he had made multiple complaints to the chefs, and they said no. In fact, they were surprised that Mr. Macias was involved in this.
Okay, and my next question would be, since we don't have the videos, can anyone speak to anything? What does the video portray that we're going to see?
So there's no cameras in the dish room where the actual event took place, but you'll see in the video and Chef Fagan is the one in the flannel shirt, is that you can see that the staff immediately went to address Mr. Alzate's wounds and a wound. And you'll see him with a gauze pad over his forehead. And then Mr. Fagan spoke to him about getting medical coverage. I think he wanted to actually stay at work, and they said absolutely not. And Mr. Fagan got him, ordered a lift and put him in, walked and escorted him to the lift and sent him to the you'll see all that in the video, but there's no video of the actual incident.
Okay. And so just to be clear, my sense is that at the time, though, to the other employees, it was clear that it had been an altercation and not an accident, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
So why isn't there a video of the actual incident?
We don't have cameras in the dish room, Commissioner.
And
You
is
can
there,
yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
you were gonna say something else?
Well, you'll see them addressing his the blood and whatever, and then how the staff addressed both and separated him and spoke with him and all that, but and got them out of off the premises, but we don't have any video of the actual incident.
And I recall hearing that one, I think it was the victim who was fired, but what happened to the suspect, his employment?
Well, both of them were immediately put on administrative leave, and then after the investigation, they terminated both of them.
Okay, and during the investigation, was there an effort to have them in their own words recount what happened in their own language, just so that there's no communication barrier?
Yes, I mean, you'll see in the incident report, there's statements from both of them to the management staff as to what happened. And what occurred is, since both of them had totally different stories as to what happened, and there was a fight on the premises, the decision was made to terminate both of them.
Just for clarity, Commissioner, due to the language barriers, the employees were not individually interviewed. We interviewed the chefs who spoke English and Spanish, and we attempted to bridge the gap there because some of the chefs are not very proficient in English. And I met with them. I understood what the information they collected from each, and then I translated it into Spanish so that they could understand what the incident report memorialized, and asked them to let me know if it was incorrect.
Any further questions from the board at this time?
None for me. Thank you.
Further?
Thank you. And Attorney Miller, you said that incident report will be included with the videos?
Incident report, the receipt from the lift to East Boston Health, and the videos will be in your office hopefully in the next few minutes.
Great, we'll be on the
We
lookout.
had technical difficulties getting the video, so
Okay,
it will be there.
we'll be on the lookout, and I'll make sure that that is shared with the commissioners as soon as we receive it. Thank you. The board will take this matter under advisement for now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Calling item number 2, Leinster Group, Inc., doing business as Scholars, located at 25 School Street. Date of the incident, January 29th, 2024. Assault and battery, patron on patron, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A, and a blocked emergency exit in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.06A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Upton, attorney for the licensee. With me is Oren McGonigal, owner, Vanessa Lopez, manager of record, and Ilda Prifty, bartender. All three were on site during the evening.
Great. Thank you very much. I don't believe I see any of them on camera right now, so here we go. I see Ms. Prifty. So anyone who is planning on testifying, great, I see all three now on camera, thank you. Who's present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I'm Sergeant Hogan with the Boston Police Department.
Thank you, Sergeant Hogan. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Police Officer Christopher Rooney is also here on this matter, Boston Police Department.
Great, thank you, Officer Rooney. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Who will be reading the police report? Will that be Sergeant Hogan?
I can certainly do that for you, sir.
That would be great if you could please proceed.
About 2:04 a.m. on Monday, January 29th, 2024, Officer Rooney and Entwistle in the Alpha 102 Alpha responded to a radio call for a fight in progress at the Scholars Bar located at 25 School Street, downtown. Upon arrival, people were waving officers into the bar and telling us to hurry up and get inside. Officers were informed that there was a large fight happening upstairs on the second floor. As the officers were walking in, the altercation ended. Officers could still hear several screams, and there was a group of people still on scene. Officers radioed for more units. The Alpha 103, Alpha 101, Alpha 202, and other officers showed up to assist. Officers observed bar stools tipped over. There were drinks everywhere, trash everywhere, indicative of a physical altercation. As officers arrived on the second males in the back rooms, and one male had locked himself, Patrick Corbett was in another back room and had been sprayed with OC spray. Officers made contact with an injured suspect, Corbett, who was in a back room on the ground. The suspect was screaming in pain. Officers could observe a laceration that would require stitches to the suspect's right eye. The suspect's eye was also swollen and bruised. The suspect was also sprayed with OC and was spitting up and screaming on the floor. Officers immediately dispatched EMS to the scene for this male. The suspect was too intoxicated to identify himself or tell officers what had happened. The bar was hosting a group work party with local employees of Scholars and other establishments. Nearly every witness on scene indicated that the suspect went berserk and started the altercation. Officers spoke with victim number 1, Nicholas Valentino, who was working behind the bar at the time of the altercation. Victim number 1 stated that they were trying to close the bar and stop serving alcohol. According to multiple witnesses, this upset the suspect, who started verbal altercations with several males and females. Moments later, the victim stated that the suspect grabbed and pulled an unknown female's hair. The suspect then attempted to throw punches at the victim and jump behind the bar. The victim stated that he was in fear for his safety after the suspect had just assaulted a woman. The victim believed that the suspect was attempting to hit him, possibly trying to grab and arm himself with a bottle behind the bar. The victim then deployed OC suspect's face to defend himself. The victim did. It is unknown how the suspect received the injury to his right eye. Officers then spoke with witness number 1, Ilda Prifty, who was also working the event. Prifty initially met officers and let them into the scene upstairs where the fight had occurred. Prifty witnessed the suspect act belligerent and extremely agitated when he was advised that the bar was closing down. The witnesses stated that a fight broke out after a group was talking shit to each other. Prifty stated that she witnessed the suspect grab and pull on some unknown female's hair in an attempt to jump over the bar and attempt to attack the victim, Valentino. The witness stated that she believed her co-worker, Valentino, acted in self-defense before he was brutally attacked. Officers then met with witness number 2, Jamal Williams, who was the second person who was locked inside a back room when officers arrived. Williams was profusely sweating and stated that he hid in the back room after the fight broke out. Williams reiterated that he witnessed the suspect pull on a woman's hair and tried to jump across the bar. Williams stated the other males throwing punches in the brawl must have left the scene prior to the police arrival. Williams stated that he was in fear from the suspect and hid to protect himself from injury. The Alpha 902, Sergeant Hogan, arrived on scene and was advised of a Code 35 license premise violation. Sergeant Hogan issued a Code 35 violation number 059118. It appears that everyone else involved in the fight, as well as the individual or individuals that attacked the suspect that caused the injury to his eye, were not on scene when police arrived. Boston EMS arrived on scene and transported the suspect to Mass General Hospital. The suspect was identified in the ambulance and transported by the ambulance number 1. And this was all recorded on body worn camera, sir. That's the conclusion.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Attorney Upton, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Thank you. Sergeant, can you tell us if the staff and management was cooperative during this incident and investigation?
Yes, sir. They were incredibly cooperative with us.
All right, thank you. That's all I have for the police officers. We believe that the police report basically speaks for itself. This was an unforeseeable outburst from a belligerent man, which the staff and management tried their best to control. I will address a few of the details to give the board some context. First, the blocked exit was a result of furniture being moved during the incident. It wasn't that they had stored anything, and this was not an ongoing problem. The exit was probably blocked for a total of an hour because some people pushed some furniture there during the incident. This incident occurred during the East Coast Tavern Group private holiday party for staff. The East Coast Tavern Group owns Dorset Hall, Dubliner, Carrie Nation. They have an excellent track record in sale and service of alcohol and in discipline. This was staff only. This party it was a private event. I would like to ask Ilda Prifty a few questions as she was on scene. As I mentioned, the owner and the manager were both on scene as well, but they left before the incident occurred. Ilda, if you can unmute, I will ask you a few questions. Sure. Okay, so you were on duty that night?
I was.
And can you tell us the capacity of scholars?
Sure. I think the capacity of scholars is around 350.
And about how many people were there at the time?
I would probably say around 80.
So it was not crowded.
It was not.
Did you have a doorman on, even though it was a private event?
We did.
And why was that?
Just to make sure everybody was, behaving. Also making sure that nobody under 21 was coming in and drinking at this holiday party.
Okay. And the description in the police report characterizes as a fight. But was there really a fight, or was it really you guys trying to restrain this one fellow? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a fight, or it wasn't nobody was talking, talking trash to each other or anything. I think it just it escalated with him, us telling him that the holiday party was over.
Okay, how did things begin?
I think just it kind of became very chaotic. Told him that we're no longer serving, that everybody needs to leave, and then not quite sure how it started, but the next thing is, people were throwing fists, and he then had his hand on a girl, holding her hair, and then I think other guys kind of jumped in just to try to let her get away from him.
Okay, and do you know who called the police?
I believe it was one of the staff members or somebody that was present at the holiday party.
Okay, and while you were involved in breaking this up, that's when the police arrived?
Correct. Yep.
But it wasn't you who called the police?
It was not me who called the police, just because I was trying to, let that girl go free from his hold. I would have happily called the police. My partner is a BPD, and I think you call the police before you do anything else. It's just I was trying to help her as much as possible.
Okay. All right, thank you. I have no further questions for Ilda.
Sure.
I would just like to offer a few additional details. Mr. Corbett, who was the belligerent person here, was a doorman at another bar owned by the East Coast Tavern Group, so he was a guest. Based on our review of his records, he passed a Corey background check. He had no history of any incidents, any problems whatsoever. There's nothing in his personal file of any prior incidents of any kind. It appears that he just snapped and attacked a woman and attacked the bartender. We can tell you in terms of subsequent remedial measures, he was obviously fired. The bartender who sprayed him with the spray was disciplined for having that type of weapon on his person. He has since resigned. The handbook, the employee handbook, has been updated to clarify that you cannot carry any weapons of any kind at any time on the premises. We believe that should have been obvious to anyone, but now it's written down just in case. And out of an abundance of caution, the organization has determined that there will be no more staff parties for the staff. With that, we're glad to answer any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner Carn, Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
Is there any video in Scholars?
I believe because it was so long ago, there is no video.
And was there any efforts to preserve it?
I do not know. I think it after a certain amount of time, it automatically erases. And if we hadn't gotten the hearing notice, it may not still be around.
It may not still be around. Do you know that for sure?
I do not know.
Does anyone know for sure?
We can
Lieutenant Detective Troy, not previously sworn, I can address that if the detective's notes.
Thank you, Lieutenant Troy, can you please raise your right hand?
Yeah.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Just reading from the detective's notes, it says, spoke to the owner of the bar who stated there's limited video due to upgrading a camera system, and that was on March 15th, and there was efforts to retrieve the video before that were fruitless. So the last note is from March 15th, which again notes that there's limited video available due to upgrading the camera system.
Attorney Upton, do you have any knowledge of a video system upgrade going on at that point?
I am not really familiar with the upgrade. I believe this may have come up in the past, but perhaps we can ask Vanessa.
Please. Vanessa?
Hi.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
So this is just very unfortunate timing. We were in the process of upgrading our video system, and the guy was supposed to come that Thursday before the staff party, but something happened, so he ended up coming the following week. So he wasn't able to upgrade it until like a couple weeks prior to that, because he had to replace the entire hard drive system.
And did that cause the video not to be captured of this date and time?
So we had called him to come in because there were a couple cameras that were not properly working, but we were hoping he would come in, Sunday, Mondays we're closed to the public. He was supposed to come in, and the reason why he was coming in was because it was limited capture. So it wasn't holding as long as it should. After about a week, it would delete itself. So that's why we were getting everything rebooted and replaced and upgraded.
So, but this video something would have been captured and would have been held for a week. Is that what you're saying?
It limited captures, but unfortunately there were the cameras that would have shown directly on the second floor. There was glitching in the cameras and the angling wasn't proper. So he had to come in, re-angle everything and replace a few cameras. So the cameras that were facing the incident were not working at that time.
I think I'll end on the video issue just for the licensees, maybe future notice that I think an incident of these allegations and this description is an easy preserve your video. I can't say what will come out of deliberation, but I think just put you on notice for the future that an incident like this on the night of, you should know that you should be preserving video of this. can anyone speak to the suspect's level of intoxication? Anyone have any observations of him on the night and how he got to this state?
I think we can ask, Ilda, did you serve this guy drinks?
I believe I did serve this guy drinks. I personally probably served him 1 to 2 drinks. There were 2 other bartenders serving that evening as well, so they could have possibly also served him 1 to 2 drinks as well.
Did he show any signs of intoxication or aggressive behavior when you served, when you saw him?
Not when we served him, no.
Okay.
We would have definitely all stopped serving or told each other to stop serving that individual if we
Right.
felt that he was highly intoxicated.
And just to be clear, because this was a staff party, you know, this was probably the highest concentration of tips trained bartenders and doormen you can get in one bar at a time. I think if this guy had displayed intoxication or aggressive behavior that was foreseeable, people would have stepped in right away, but it appears it was rather sudden.
Correct.
Okay, are you, Ilda, I'm sorry, are you the person who served him his last drink?
I don't know. I can't say that I did. I don't remember.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, this issue, once again, is something that, I would say would be helped by having, video of the incident, so. I think that's all I have. I'll just leave it at that. Once again, the notice that this description is an easy save the video, so for the future, I think it'll be noted on the docket. Or at least that's what I'll suggest on voting day, so thank you, that's all I have.
What time did the party start and what time did he arrive? Do you know how long he had been there before this incident occurred?
I do not. Ilda, do we have any idea? I mean, the police came at 2:04, so we know that was the end.
Correct. I don't remember what time he came, or I like I said, I know what time the police arrived as well.
So I heard a doorman and 3 bartenders. Who else staffed the event? Were there any other security?
Ilda, was there anyone out there serving the food, or was it just three bartenders and the doorman?
Sure. So it was just us 3 bartenders and the doorman. But Vanessa was there before and left.
And what time did you leave, Vanessa?
I believe I left at 1:45. I was looking at my Uber receipt the time I got home, and it was just after 2:00. Everything seemed calm and peaceful, and I know they were wrapping everything up when I was leaving, so it seemed like a good time to go.
And were all 80 people still there at the time that the incident occurred?
The time I left, a significant amount of those people had already left as well.
Any further questions from the board on this matter?
Nothing further from me, thank you.
Okay, in that case, the board will take this under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Calling item number 3, Little Haiti International Cuisine LLC, doing business as Little Haiti International Cuisine, located at 1184 Hyde Park Ave in Hyde Park, date of the incident February 24th, 2024. Operating after licensed premise hours in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 9. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Is anybody present on behalf of Little Haiti International Cuisine? We will take a second call. Calling item number 4, Sophia's Food Enterprise Corp. Doing business as La Gran Manzana, located at 22 Central Square in East Boston. Date of the incident, January 23rd, 2024. A fight in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Rulber Hernandez.
Great, thank you. I see Mr. Hernandez, and could you please identify yourself as well, ma'am?
Rulber Johnny Hernandez.
Yep, thank you. We see you. Can the other folks on screen also please identify themselves if you're planning to testify?
Yes, my name is Mirna Orellana, and I am the finance manager for Sophia's Food Corporation. And we also have Steven, who is the head of the security department.
Thank you. And Steven, what is your last name?
¿Cuál es su apellido?
Jurado Naranjo.
Steven Jurado Naranjo.
Jurado Naranjo?
Yes.
Great. Thank you all. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I see Detective James is present.
Yep. Thank you. Oh, Detective James, you're on mute. I've just asked you to unmute.
Can you hear me now, sir?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right.
Thank you.
Which report, which one are we doing? I have to.
This is item number 4. This is La Gran Manzana.
All right, no problem, sir.
Great. Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you all please raise your right hand? Yeah, Mr. Hernandez, Ms. Rihanna, Mr. Jurado Naranjo. Thank you. Do you all swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. Detective James, if you could please read the police report into the record for the board.
Yes, I have 3 reports to read. At 4 a.m. on Tuesday, January 23rd, officers responded to a radio call for assault and battery report at 10 Gove Street. Upon arrival, officers spoke with victim Brenda Parado, who said that she was at La Gran Manzana bar when a fight erupted. Brenda stated, the attempt to intervene in their frame was something bit on the right calf by a party known to her as Junior. Junior person she works with at a restaurant in Lynn named Balsoas. Victim stated that Junior is from Santo Domingo. Also heard a bite mark on the victim's right calf. Video stated she lost a nail on her right forefinger during the fight. No medical necessary, as victim was already treated at East Boston Neighborhood Health Center. On January 24, Detective James, the second report, sir. Detective James and Detective Espino went to La Gran Manzana, located at 22 Central Square, to write a code 35 for a fight that took place on January 23rd. Detective met the owner, Rulber Johnny Hernandez, and explained the reason why the detective were there. Johnny was very cooperative, and when the fair asked about the video, he agreed to provide it. Detective Espino downloaded the video. Johnny was accommodating and told him that he knew the person on site that would try to get the detective the information on the male involved in the fight. The license inspection was written on book 112-300 and page 057761. And now the third report. On February 1st, victim John Carlos Catano came to the station. They were interviewed by Detective James and Detective Espino, transferred because John spoke very little English. Big John said that it was at La Gran Manzana Club with his fellow employees for employee celebration. John stayed at the end of the night. Shortly after the club turned on the lights with people believe a fight broke out. John stated that he tried to break up, and that was when he was punched in the face by John Londano. John stated that he fell on the floor and John kicked him while he was on the floor. John admitted that he believed John was drunk that night. John described John as a 35 to 40-year-old white Hispanic male, Colombian descent. Said that John works at the Lynn location of the restaurant where he works. States that he works at Revere location. John also stated that John sent him a text apologizing for the incident the next day. Detective Spino was able to get the driver's license of John London. Detective first asked John how long he has known John, and he stated he knows him from work. John then looked at the picture and identified it as that of John Londano. They then was set up a hearing in East Boston Court against John for assault and battery and assault by means of a dangerous weapon. Short foot. Sorry, that's it.
Thank you, Detective James. Would the licensee like to address the alleged incident? So Mr. Hernandez, Ms. Rihanna, Mr. Gerardo Naranja.
Yes, Mr. Green. I wasn't there that night, so I'm just trying to help them translate. If you don't mind, or if you don't have anybody else to translate, I will translate what Mr. Hernandez is going to say about that night, and Mr. Naranjo Jurado as well. So
thank you.
Speaking Spanish, and I will translate.
Great, thank you.
Oh, ellos llegaron, ¿me entiende? Son un grupo de Balson Restaurant que estaban celebrando el año. Llegaron como a las 12:45 de la noche, pidieron cervezas y ellos empezaron a discutir por pagar la cuenta.
So there was a group of about 6 or 7 people from restaurant known as Balsos. They were having like an employee party that night. And they arrived around midnight, around 12:30. And they ordered some drinks. And after the tab was brought over to the table, they started among themselves fighting about who was going to take care of the bill.
Como a la 1:30, yo ya prendí las luces, 1:45, ya le mandaron el bill y ellos empezaron a discutir con el bill.
That was around 1:30 a.m., between 1:30 and 1:45 a.m. when the bill was brought over to the table, and that's when they started fighting. The lights were already on.
Entonces la muchacha le pegó a él por la espalda.
And the lady that was on the table, identified as Brenda, she hit one of the men on the table and hit him on the back.
Entonces vino el muchacho, le empujó a ella y vino el novio de ella y le empezaron a pegar a él y lo botaron al suelo y le están pegándole patadas y nosotros los apartamos.
And then the lady, Brenda, started hitting again this other man, and then her boyfriend also intervened, and both of them brought them down to the floor, and from the floor they started kicking him.
Entonces, cuando la policía llegó, porque la policía estaba ahí al frente, que nosotros llamamos, y la policía estaba al frente, él llegó, ya ellos ya habían salido afuera.
Mr. Hernandez didn't call the police because always there is a police patrol right in front of the restaurant around 1:30 a.m. So they came into the premises, the police. We don't have that report. The report doesn't show. We don't have a piece of paper that shows that, but the video footage does.
Entonces la policía llegó, cuando llegó la policía, él los apartó a todos y todos se fueron para la casa.
And the police, when the police came into the restaurant around 1:45, the police broke down the fight and sent everybody home.
Entonces yo, cuando nos fuimos para la casa, ya el detective, que ellos me conocen, me llamaron y que querían ir a ver los videos y yo le enseñé los videos y yo comparé con ellos.
So what we heard about was the next day. After that night, everybody left. We didn't know anything about the incident, or the people were back out of the restaurant. And the next day, on the 24th, that's when the detective came to the restaurant again around what time?
Él llegó como a las 10 de la noche.
Around 10:30 p.m. And that's how I found out that one of the persons that was part of that party had gone to the health center claiming that there was something else happened, like an injury.
Yo pues le enseñé todos los videos, colaboré con él con los videos como siempre. Entonces, y eso es todo.
And I let them see the video footage. I provided them copies of them, and like I always do, and that was the part that I did on it. ¿Algo más?
No, pues entonces ellos se fueron y el negocio no estaba lleno. Habían 20 personas.
That night, so our capacity is 98 occupants. So that night there was about 20 people.
Los de Balso eran los que estaban.
Only the people from that employee parties from Balso's restaurant.
Estaba el dueño de Balso también ahí.
And the owner of the restaurant, Balso's, was there with his employees.
Entonces, cuando ellos salieron para la calle, ya después de discutirse, pues ya la muchacha se fue para el hospital a las 4 de la mañana.
And I learned that the lady had gone to the health center around 4 a.m. ¿Algo más?
No, eso es lo que tengo que decir. Y tengo la seguridad.
That's all I had to say about that night, and that's why I have my security head with me if you wanna ask any other questions.
Thank you. We will see if there are any questions at this time. Commissioner Carney.
1 second, sir. 1 second, sir.
Yes.
I made a mistake. There's a fourth report where I spoke to both Brenda and Junior. You want me to read that as well, sir? There's one more report that I mistakenly forgot about.
Is this the report from April 18th, 2024?
No. This was a January 31st I spoke to him. Concerning
Oh,
this.
yes, we do have that one. Yep.
All right. On January 31st, Detective James spoke to Brenda Peretta and asked her what happened. Brenda speaks very little English, but mainly Spanish. Detective Bermea talked to her. Detective Bermea spoke to the victim for detective, and she asked what happened. The victim, Brenda, stated that she works for Batso Restaurant in Revere, and that has a second location in Lim. No, the employees of both restaurants had a party for employees only and ended up at a Grand Manzana club. She stated that the fight started at the end of the night, and when the lights were turned on the club, the victim said she did not know why the fight started. Brenda said they tried to part the fight when she was bit on her leg by Junior Thomas, who was on the ground. They bring the stage to treat at East Boston Neighborhood Health Center. On February 29, Detective Dame talked to Junior Thomas through a translator, Police Officer Rosa. Junior was asked what happened. He stated that he did not remember much as he was very drunk. Junior said that he was attacked in the club and he fell on the ground or was being kicked by several different persons. Junior admitted that he was biting one of the legs that was kicking him. The judge will set up a hearing at East Boston District against Junior Thomas Del Rosa for assault and battery and against Brenda Parado for assault by means of a dangerous weapon and shot foot. That's all, sir.
Thank you for that. The licensee has provided testimony. We'll see if there are questions from the board at this time. Commissioner Carn, any questions?
Detective James, have you seen the video that was provided?
Yes, sir.
Okay, does that video depict any activity prior to the outbreak of the fight?
No, the video showed everybody appears to be enjoying themselves, sir. And then the lights were turned on, and just as the light was turned on shortly after, the fight started.
Okay, thank you. And just for the record, for the premises, was your attention either through security or just in serving drinks, was your attention drawn to this group in any way, any warning signs?
Yeah, just a moment, Mr. Curran. Él está preguntando que si le llamó algo la atención a ustedes dos de esa mesa antes de que la...
No, es que ellos estaban celebrando el party.
Todos estaban bien, todos estaban bien.
No,
estaban bien.
before that, so everybody was just having fun and enjoying themselves.
Employee.
It was an employee party.
Van a discutir por la cuenta.
Lo único que discutieron fue por el bill.
They will only start fighting after they saw the bill.
Okay, I think all my other concerns have been addressed, so thank you. That's all I have.
No additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And the board will take this matter under advisement as well. Thank you all. Calling item number 5, Cardona's Inc. doing business as Barney's Grill, located at 299 Haver Street in East Boston. Date of the incident, April 22nd, 2024. Assault and battery, employee on patron in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Assault and battery, patron on employee in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. And assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, a bottle, patron on employee in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 13A. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Oh, sorry. I see you there. I just asked you to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you.
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry for any inconvenience. I'm currently out of the country. Father's not able to be here.
Oh, sorry. We're having a real hard time hearing you. Your audio keeps going in and out.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Not quite. Not sure. I don't know if you could move either closer to the microphone or microphone closer to you.
Anyway, is it better?
That might be a little better.
Okay. Father's not able to nothing.
Oh, no, it got a little better as you were speaking. Sorry about that.
Okay, sorry. Sorry, I'm I'm out of the country taking care of some family matters. I'm Kilda Cardona. My father's the other owner with me, but my father had a stroke a couple months ago. So he's incapacitated right now. So I'm handling this matter on his behalf. How are you guys? How's everybody?
Thank you. Very sorry to hear that. Thank you, Mr. Cardona, for being with us.
Thank you very much. So yes, I'm here present on behalf of Cardona's Inc.
Great, thank you. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective James.
Thank you, Detective James. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Okay, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you very much, Detective James. If you could please read this report into the record for the board.
All right. On April 23rd, 2020, while investigating a fight at 299 Harvard Street, Barnardville, spoke to Kilda Cardona. Kilda stated it was at the end of the night and the bar was closed, and Kilda noted that two men who were at the bar and would not be giving up their liquor. Kilda stated that he told them they could not take the liquor out of the bar and they thought he was picking on them. Just that they knew the mail had just arrived from Columbia where they could take the liquor out of the bar. Kilda told them that they could not in this country, stated that with the help of the security, started to escort the males out of the bar when the male turned around and punched him in the side of his head. Kilda stated that he grabbed the male and they both fell. He said that he had to defend himself as the male continued to hit him. Kilda then stated the security got the male up and started escorting him out of bar, and that was when he grabbed an empty beer bottle and hit him up with it. And the battle broke. Kilda stated that he fell on the ground, and that was when he cut his arm and the brown pieces of the bottle. On the night of the incident, Police Officer Brancho and Police Felix responded to 20 Morrissey and spoke to Juan Silva Ferrero, who stated there was involvement fight at 299 Harvard Street. Ferrero stated that to the officer that he was at the Barney's Grill when he was told to leave. In the process of being removed to the bar, multiple workers were jumping him, at which point stated he grabbed a liquor bottle self-defense to fight them off. On the night of the incident, the Gold 911 Sergeant who wrote the Code 35 license premise violation. Detective J will set up a hearing at East Boston District Court against Kilda for assault and battery, and against John Silva for assault and battery means a dangerous weapon and assault and battery. So.
Thank you, Detective James. We have another report as well, the initial incident report. Do you have that?
Hold on 1 second, sir, please.
Thank you.
About 2:59 a.m. Monday, April 22nd, officers responded to a radio call for a fight at 295 Harvard Street. Assistant officers responded. Upon arrival, also were met by caller Kilda Cardona, who states that he's the owner of Barney's Grill on Harvard Street. Also occurred with lacerations on his right arm, blood on his shirt. Cardona stated that a patron inside was trying to leave with a drink. He explained to him that he cannot leave with any drinks on the outside, and at which time he stated the individual became disrespectful towards the women staff members, to which he was being told to leave. Cardona stated that the individual did not wish to leave, and at this point, when he attempted to escort him, a fight began. Cardona explained that he does not know how he got the laceration on his arm from the fight, that it happened too fast. The individual was no longer seen when officers arrived. The individual was described as a light-skinned, slim-built, with puffy jacket and black hat. Officer also responded to an emergency with John Silva Ferrero, who states he was involved in a fight at 299 Harvard Street. Ferrero stated to the officer that he was at Barnes Gun, was told to leave, but states in the process of being removed from the bar, multiple workers were jumping, at which point Ferrero states he grabbed the liquor bottle in self-defense to fight them off. EMS responded both 299 Harvard Street and 20 Morris Street, and both Kilda Cardona well John Silva Ferrero. Son Holden respond to Barnes Grill and license permit violation on AB on employee and patron, A and B on patron employee, ABD doubles on employee at bottle, and body worn cameras drive. Nothing further to report. That's it, sir.
Thank you very much, Detective James. Mr. Cardona, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes,
Sorry.
and,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry.
Byron, were you about to say something?
I just have a quick question for Detective James.
Yes, sir.
What is the current status of the criminal matters that you noted?
The criminal matters was settled at a hearing at East Boston District Court, sir. They came to an agreement with the clerk that Mr. Ferreira will no longer go to Barney's Grill, and they'll just stay away from each other, sir.
All right, I just want to check that they were settled. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you for that, Detective James. Thank you, Commissioner Curran. Mr. Cardona, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, just to make sure you guys can still hear me okay?
We can hear you fine.
Awesome. Yeah, so on that night when this happened, just to show you from, if I don't know if you guys can see, this was my arm from the cuts from that night, and this was the underneath.
Mhm.
And I have the scars all right here. When the gentleman was there, we just asked him to leave. I understand, you know, in Colombia, you can walk out of any bar with your drinks. He had just gotten here from Colombia not too long ago, so he tried to leave with his drink. Asked him nicely not to. You couldn't do it. He kept pulling the drink away. When we kept trying to grab the drink, kept pulling it away. You know, I asked my security. I was like, "Can you just please grab this drink?" Escort him out. That's when he started getting loud. The girls had asked him, they told him, "You already paid your tab. Just please, just go, just go." He started getting loud with them, got loud with me, ended up taking a swing at me. I fell down, brought him with me. Security picked him up. As they were escorting him on the way out, I walked with them up to the door. When I turned around, which is why I stated at one point, you know, I didn't know exactly how I had gotten the cuts, but when I turned around to walk away, that's when I felt something hit my shoulder, and he had tried to bottle me in the head, but he missed me. When he hit me with the bottle, it went down, I went down, and I felt like along with the hit, the empty shards of it went into my arm. So when I stood up, that's when I realized I was bleeding everywhere. And then the gentleman, you know, ran out the door. He was with somebody else. They ran out the door. And then shortly, you know, not too long after, I tried to, you know, get the wounds cleaned up and all that stuff. And then that's when the police showed up.
Thank you. And anything further before I move to questions?
No, sir.
Great. Commissioner Curran, any questions?
Sir, do you have video on premises?
No, I don't.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I have any other concerns. Thank you.
I'm glad you're okay. What signs do you have now, or what are you gonna do now going forward to make sure that patrons understand that they cannot walk out with the drinks signage perhaps, or?
Yes, I mean, the best thing, you know, we could do is we put a sign, we have a sign on the door because there's only one door in, one door out. So, you know, on the inside door, it says, you know, no drinks beyond this point. I guess for somebody that, you know, doesn't speak English, I guess we should maybe put it in Spanish, would probably help. But another thing is, you know, we've never really had a situation like this. We do have people in the past that have maybe like, oh, try to sneak out with their drink, but we always have security, or we catch them, go, leave your drink here, please. But they were very adamant on, you know, I paid for this drink. If I pay for it, it's mine. Why am I going to leave it? I'm taking it with me. So I guess try to implement that sign in Spanish and, you know, have them be more aware. I guess maybe put it on the receipt at the bottom and in English and Spanish, you know, all drinks must stay within the premise.
All sounds good. And maybe some images, icons, you know, or it doesn't even have to be in a particular language, just.
Understandable. Yes, that is a good point. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further from the board?
None for me. Thank you.
That's all. Great. The board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you again for being with us today, Mr. Cardona, and all the best to you and your family.
Thank you very much, guys. I wish you the best. Have a good week.
Thank you. Calling item number 6, Big Night Venues Boston 4 LLC, doing business as Scorpion Bar and Restaurant and The Grand, located at 25 Northern Ave. Date of the incident, April 26th, 2024. Assault and battery by means of a dangerous weapon, a glass, patron on patron, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Chapter 265, Section 15A. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, Kristen Scanlon for the licensee, as well as Charlie Kane, who's Director of Security for the licensee.
Thank you. Who's present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Sergeant Detective Paul Donlin.
Thank you, Sergeant Detective Donlin. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Please raise your right hand. Thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Sergeant Detective Donlin, if you could please read the police report for the record for the board.
Okay, I'm referring to police incident report number 242-033-776. At about 7:55 a.m. on Saturday, 4/27/24, Officer Che, while assigned to the front desk at District 4, received a walk-in report assault at 58 Seaport Boulevard, Boston. The officer spoke to the victim, Drew Y. Patel, who stated that he was assaulted at a nightclub, the Grand Boston. The victim, Patel, stated that he was at a club with a friend. The victim stated that a drunk female got into a verbal argument with a male. The victim stated these two individuals was sitting at a table next to the victim and his friend. The victim stated that he was minding his business when all of a sudden the female in another threw a glass which struck the victim between his eyebrows. The victim stated he received 4 stitches due to the laceration on his face. The officer observed fresh stitches on the victim's face. The victim stated that the club failed to call the police, and due to him being in shock, failed to call the police as well. There's a supplemental report that was written by myself several days later. It says on Friday, 5/3/24 at about 21:10, Sergeant Detective Donlin and Detective Flynn went down to the Grand Boston 58 Seaport Boulevard. Sergeant Detective Donlin issued license premise citation number 010428 for an incident that occurred on 4/26 inside the establishment. The violation was assault and battery by means of a dangerous weapon, glass, patron on patron. That's what I have as far as that. The investigator is Sergeant Detective Flynn. He's not on this today. I conversed with him. He did request the video from the establishment. They provided the video. They also gave us some other information, some billing information for a friend of the suspect, and they gave us that. We were able to track down that person, but not the actual person that threw the glass. The investigator also said, reviewing the video, the angle that it was at, you could see something happen, but as far as like getting a definitive identification on the person, it was kind of hard to do. But they were very cooperative during the investigation, according to the investigator.
Thank you very much. Attorney Scanlon, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, and thank you, Sergeant Detective. You took care of my questions with your testimony, so I appreciate that. Members of the board, Mr. Kane will explain the internal investigation and statements from several employees/witnesses and the alleged victim momentarily. And we will also be supplying the video that Sergeant Detective referenced to the board as well, which is generally consistent with Mr. Patel's statements. There were no issues with these patrons at all earlier that evening. When you watch the video, there appears to be some sort of verbal argument or altercation between a man and woman at the neighboring table that Mr. Patel was sitting at with his friend. As you'll see on the video, the female then throws a glass stick cup in the direction of the male she was arguing with, completely missed him and unintentionally hit Mr. Patel in the forehead with the glass stick. You'll see that staff immediately responds in this video and that Mr. Patel is seen walking away from the table. The female also left with another female shortly thereafter. Mr. Kane will testify to Mr. Patel's immediate interactions with staff in the subsequent internal investigation, but of note, Mr. Patel was repeatedly offered by staff to call for police who are generally outside the establishment, offered to press charges, and also repeatedly offered medical attention, which he repeatedly declined. As you'll hear, Mr. Patel was apparently most upset about the damage caused to his supposed $8,000 jacket and about who was going to pay to get it cleaned. According to the police report, however, Mr. Patel stated the licensee didn't call police, but they didn't do so based at his request, and also because at the time it was a judgment call there that appeared to be a minor incident. The police report to that extent is contradictory to what happened that night versus what Mr. Patel informed BPD while making his report the next morning. It's unclear at this time why he was a bit of a revisionist on that point, but he was. I think the board is familiar enough with this licensee that they never avoid calling on police for assistance as per protocol. But with this particular instance, again, a judgment call of the security staff was made, and also police and medical assistance were repeatedly offered and refused by Mr. Patel. All in all, this was an unforeseeable altercation and response from the woman at the neighboring table, as well as an unforeseen and unintentional injury not intended to harm Mr. Patel. She was clearly and unfortunately aiming to throw a drink at someone else in the glass stick and accidentally or negligently struck Mr. Patel with it instead. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Kane so that he can further elaborate on his internal investigation and staff statements as well.
Good morning, Attorney Green and members of the board. So we did a video review that night immediately to see if we could identify the two females who fled the Grand and walked out hurriedly. The video is consistent with Mr. Patel's statement the night of the incident while on scene. Mr. Patel was taken to the back of the house, to the bottle pit area, back hallway, the freight elevator, to be given assistance. That's where it becomes inconsistent with his report to Boston Police Area C6, in which he states what he stated. I have 5 signed statements from witnesses that I'll forward to the board with the video. One in particular is a VIP host and is a personal friend, Andy Tran, of Mr. Patel's. A GM, 2 nightlife managers, and my security manager. And they're all consistent with what was put in the nightly and sent to me as a recap, that he refused medical, the police were outside, he refused police. He was only concerned about his jacket and who was going to clean it. Subsequently, on the next morning, I got a phone call from VIP host Andy Tran that Mr. Patel had called him and wanted to know who was going to pay for his jacket and if we could identify the female. I advised Andy Tran to advise him that we would get on that and immediately take a look at the video and see if we can backtrack, because she had left the scene, see if we could identify her. As Detective Sergeant Donlin stated, we did do our due diligence and we backtracked the female, got her to her POS at the main bar. I was able to identify her through the system with the credit card, then tracked her through social media, confirming that she was the female with the female that threw the glass that night. Which was an unforeseen incident as a minor. You can see they're obviously having an argument possibly, and then she throws the glass and it goes past the intended target and hits Mr. Patel subsequently. Also, the glass is not a glass, it's a glass stick, it's called. It's plastic. We've never had glassware in any of our establishments due to the severity of what they could cause. And then further, I would just like to say that, you know, as a company, I think, you know, that we operate with the police, cooperate, and we do have the police outside due to a memorandum of understanding on Friday and Saturday nights. Mr. Patel, you'll see in the statement, was escorted about 25 minutes later out by VIP staff and security to an Uber, again, refusing everything, police visible out there to him and to the witnesses, and subsequently filed the police report after. And at that point, I was notified by Detective Flynn, and I sent them the video as well as the identity of the female friend. That's all.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. Thank you, Attorney Scanlon. We will await the videos, and in the meantime, we'll see if there are any questions from the board. Commissioner Carn, Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
I guess, I mean, fully acknowledging that you weren't written up for a failure to call the police, failure to call 911. I just like to kind of throw it to you. Was this a learning experience, because this is exactly why we've told license holders in the past that it's really not up to the patrons involved. It's up to you to evaluate the seriousness of the incident and whether 911 needs to be called. You know, one of the reasons is exactly this: the patron can change their mind later and kind of change their story. So have you adjusted your protocol on something like this?
Yes, I mean, as stated, I mean, he believed we should have called 911. The police were outside. He was offered to get them. So maybe we should have got them and had him refuse to them in person, and then we would have had that documented. I guess, yes, that would be the learning curve.
Yep,
Um,
that's exactly my point. So that's just for the future.
Yes,
That would be my expectation. I mean, so just to be clear, on the evening, it was clear that he had a significant cut on his face, like it ended up being 4 stitches. It was known that he was bleeding, right?
yes. I mean, he had a laceration that required 4 stitches on a head wound. You bleed a lot, but it was cleared up when he left. And he subsequently went and got stitches the next day.
Yeah, so
Yes, he did have the injury.
like you said, if you had done that, that would have covered you. And with full acknowledgement, you haven't been written up for failure to call the police or anything. So just in the way of advisement. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Advised.
Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
Nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll await the videos and we'll make sure that is shared with commissioners as soon as it is received. Board will take this under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling item number 7, the K's Inc. doing business as Sissy K's located at 6 Commercial Street. Date of the incident, June 14th, 2024. Overcrowding, 124 on the second floor, capacity 96, in violation of Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 64, and Board's Rule 1.03J and 1.06A and F. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
Good morning, everyone. Andrew Upton for the licensee. With me is Bill Johnson and Nico Baldessari, who is the manager of record.
Thank you very much. I see both on my screen. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I am Detective Hernandez.
Thank you. Detective, are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning?
Lieutenant Detective Troy.
Thank you. Can you all please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Detective Hernandez, if you could please read the police report into the record for the board.
Good morning. I'll read from a report that Sergeant Detective Gallagher wrote on 6/14/2024 at about 9:20 p.m. Lieutenant Detective Adrian Troy, Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, and Detective Eddie Hernandez assigned to the license premises and conducted a license premise inspection of Sissy K's at 6 Commercial Street. Detectives proceeded to the second floor, where they observed it to be quite crowded. Detectives inquired with the manager, Mr. Nico Baldessari, as to the capacity of the room and the count. Mr. Baldessari stated that there were 96 patrons present on the second floor. Lieutenant Detective Troy conducted a mechanical count of the second floor, which resulted in 124 persons being found on the floor number 2. Detectives relayed the findings to Mr. Baldessari, who stated that he would take corrective action. As a result of what was observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premises inspection notice 021965 to Sissy K's for overcrowding. 124 found on mechanical count, capacity 96. Mr. Nico Baldessari signed for an accepted notice. That's all.
Thank you very much. Attorney Upton, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Thank you. Detective, was management and staff cooperative during your visit and investigation?
Yes, sir. Very.
All right, thank you. That's all I have for the detective. Just so the board knows, this was game 4 of the Celtics championship series. The bar had previously been open for games 1 through 3 and generated very, very small crowds. I have sent in time-stamped videos from games 1 through 3. We tried to get them at about 9:20, the exact same time this happened, showing that hardly anyone went to this place during those games. So for some reason, extra people showed up for game 4. And I'd like to ask Nico a couple questions about that even.
Mayor.
Nico, do you ever get large crowds for Celtics games?
We do not, no.
Is it true that you reviewed 2007 sales figures from the last time the Celtics were in the playoffs to gauge staffing for this series?
Yes.
So when the incident occurred at 9:20 for game 4, how many security were on?
At the time, we only had two. We had two door guys.
And did you have 4 more security people coming in at 10 p.m.?
10 p.m., yes, sir.
And would that have included a stair security guy, an internal guy, to prevent extra people from going upstairs and overcrowding it?
Yeah, so we would have had 3 upstairs and then 1 on the stairs.
Okay. And what is your total capacity?
176.
And even with the overcrowding violation here, what was the total capacity at the time of the violation?
I believe it was anywhere from 174 to 176.
All right, so you may have been actually under the total capacity, just over the capacity for the upstairs, because the stair guy was not on yet. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
All right. And for future Celtics playoffs games, we have security on starting at 8 now?
Yes, we're gonna staff appropriately.
And based on the composition of the team and preliminary reports, do you expect the Celtics to be in the finals this year?
I hope so.
Okay. That's all we have. We're glad to answer any questions from the board.
Thank you. We'll see if there are any questions. Commissioner Curran, any questions?
So it was a Friday night, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so what influence do you think the Celtics game had on the crowd you got versus a regular Friday night?
Major. It usually picks up around 11:30 for the upstairs nightclub.
Okay, and this wasn't a clinching game, right?
So this was game 4. They would have won away, I believe. It wasn't a home game.
Yeah. Okay, and what, just that your downstairs was basically completely empty, is you're saying?
No, it wasn't empty, but there was it wasn't full either because we only had 176 on the counter. So the extra people were upstairs. They must have just went up.
And I'm sorry, I think you said it. What is the capacity of downstairs?
80.
80. Okay, that's all I need. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. Anything further? Board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
It looks like we have temporarily lost Commissioner Saxon due to a connection issue. I'm going to give just a moment to see if she can rejoin. Otherwise, the board does not have quorum to hear the remaining 2 items on this morning's agenda. So just one moment while we attempt to reconnect with Commissioner Saxon. All right, thank you all. We have been rejoined and we are okay to continue. Thank you, Commissioner Saxon, for working through the connection issue. Calling item number 8, Fan Hall MV Restaurant LLC, doing business as Margaritaville, located at 300 Faneuil Hall Marketplace. Date of the incident, June 14th, 2024. Persons under 21 in possession of alcohol, in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 34A, 34C, and 6464A, and failure to check IDs prior to alcohol service in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 64. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
I am Jeremy Ward, the general manager.
Thank you, Mr. Ward, for being with us. Who is present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
I am Detective Hernandez.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify? Great. Can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Detective Hernandez, if you could please read the report into the record for the board.
Good morning. I'm reading from a report that I wrote on Friday, June 14th, 2024. Lieutenant Detective Adrian Troy, Sergeant Detective William Gallagher, and Detective Eddie Hernandez signed to the BPD license permission and conducted a license inspection of Margaritaville. As detectives walked into the establishment, detectives observed 5 patrons drinking alcoholic beverages. Detectives noticed these patrons looked young and asked them to produce identification to confirm their ages. Initially, the patrons stated they were 21 years of age and provided detectives their driver's license. Detectives used a license verification app, which confirmed that the driver's license were indeed fraudulent. A fraudulent driver's license is confiscated by detectives. The patrons then provided detectives their true valid driver's licenses. It should be noted that the patrons stated that staff did not ask them for identification. The manager, Christine Mahone, was able to confirm that the staff did not ask the patrons for identification. The following patrons were positively identified. If you want me to read them, I'll read them, but there's just 5 there with their fake IDs. All the individuals will be summoned to court for persons under 21, possession of alcohol and false misuse of an R&B document. As a result of what Detective observed, Sergeant Detective Gallagher issued license premise inspection notice 021961 for persons under 21, possession of alcohol on premise, and failure to check IDs to alcohol prior to alcohol service. Ms. Mahone signed for and accepted the notice. That is all.
Thank you, Detective Hernandez. Mr. Ward, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yes, sir. So on the night involved, it was brought to her, the officer's attention that they did not ID. There was a seasoned server that we had with us for a long time. We do certifications in-house and through ServSafe. We have our corporate trainers that come in every 6 months and do alcohol service. That was a Friday night, and our security would have been there at 9 p.m. to card at the door. We did not bring them in early. It was game 4 of the Celtics. We didn't have any business prior to game 4 for the Celtics. So we didn't see the uptick in business. We did that day, obviously. Going further, we have brought the security in an hour earlier on Fridays and Saturdays to be safe. And we do card, even though they have security, they should be carding the ID. And we unfortunately had to get rid of the staff member for making a bad judgment call, not doing the job that we've trained her to do.
Thank you. We'll turn it over to the board to see if there are any questions. Commissioner Curran.
Yeah, I have no questions. No.
Commissioner Saxon, any questions?
None from me, thank you.
All right, in that case, the board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we will take a second call on item number 3. Just want to check to make sure someone has joined us on behalf of Little Haiti International Cuisine.
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Thank you. Yes, we can hear you. I'm going to also ask you to turn your video on so that we can swear you in. In the meantime, I'll read the item back into the record. Item number 3, Little Haiti International Cuisine, LLC, doing business as Little Haiti International Cuisine, located at 1184 Hyde Park Ave in Hyde Park. Date of the incident, February 24th, 2024. Operating after licensed premise hours in violation of Mass General Laws, Chapter 140, Section 9. Who's present on behalf of the licensee? If you could please identify yourself for the board. That would be you, George. If you could please just identify yourself for the board.
Oh, George Cran, how you doing?
George Cran, great. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Who's present on behalf of the Boston Police Department?
Detective Todd Peterson.
Thank you, Detective. Are there any other individuals with firsthand knowledge of the alleged incident who wish to testify this morning? Can you both please raise your right hand? Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Detective Peterson, if you could please read the report into the record for the board.
Yes, sir. It's a police report written by Yaqib Abdai on the night of on the morning of 3:19 a.m. on Saturday, February 24th, 2024. Officers responded to a radio call for a fight at 1184 Hyde Park Ave, which is the Little Haiti restaurant. Dispatch advised the following: upon arrival, officers observed a large group of people having a verbal dispute outside of the above location, Little Haiti International Cuisine. The officers were observed the group going in and out of the said establishment. Officers spoke with the manager, George Cran, and advised him to shut down the establishment. The manager complied with no further incident. It should be noted that The shutdown occurred at 4 a.m. A few minutes later, officers were approached by one of the employees that say that people were fighting inside the above location. Officers went inside and told everyone to disperse from the premises. Officers requested the supervisor, who responded to the scene. It also be noted officers requested identification from the following individuals located inside the restaurant. I can provide those individuals if requested. The supervisor advised the manager, the detectives would conduct a license premise check on the following day. I have a second report here that I wrote. On Saturday, the next day, Detectives Peterson, Hooley, and Sergeant Detective Ravalis conducted a Code 35 Little Haiti restaurant located at 1184 Hyde Park Ave, Hyde Park. These detectives spoke with George Karan, who is the manager owner of the licensed premise. Mr. Karan was very cooperative with detectives, providing his up-to-date licenses, which was currently displayed. Based on the report above, having individuals inside the premises at 3:19 a.m., Little Haiti Cuisine was issued violation number 039229 for having patrons inside after hours, 1 a.m. As noted on the entertainment license. Licensed premise unit would be notified of the incident.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Detective Peterson. Mr. Cran, would you like to address the alleged incident?
Yeah, so incident occurred. Essentially what happened was we had a group of people outside still waiting for their food orders. Inside, internally, the only people that we had in there was our staff, probably about 10 people. But all of the people that was inside were staff members. Outside, we had people waiting for their food, and we were just trying to satisfy the customer need. But that was pretty much what was going on. The reason why I believe one of our workers called the police officers was because essentially we didn't have the right organization to get people out away from the front of our establishment. So the only way she thought the best scenario was to threaten them by saying, I'm gonna call the cops. You guys don't want to sit down and wait in order. Essentially, when that occurred, police officers came and everything was in order.
Anything further?
No, there was no actual fights. If you look on the report, there was no punches thrown, anything of that sort. It was just the staff. She wanted to get some type of organization, what's going on, and we pretty much called the cops.
Okay. And just for the record to clarify for the board, something that's in the police report, it mentions an entertainment license that ends at 1 a.m. The actual common victular license issued to this premise has a 10 p.m. closing hour.
Okay.
And with
Our
that,
entertainment is 1 a.m., I believe.
yeah, that may have been an oversight from the entertainment division. That's something that we'll need to look at. The CV license is a 10 a.m. close with patrons off by 10:30. And with that, we'll turn it to the board, see if there are any questions, starting with Commissioner Curran.
Yeah, I mean, with that advisory from Attorney Green, are you now understanding that your closing time is 10 p.m.?
Yeah, now.
Okay. Yeah, so did you have any reason to believe that you could serve food until, 3 a.m.?
No. Essentially, we just had food going on. The 3 a.m., the situation had already ended when the cops got there.
At what time were people waiting for food takeout, right? Is that takeout? Is that what you're saying was happening?
Yeah. So before the cops arrived, the only people inside internally was the staff. The police officers weren't aware just because they had regular clothes on because they were changing.
Yeah, were you operating business as a takeout?
Yeah, we're a takeout business. 80% takeout.
So what time was that?
That was probably till 1:30ish, 2ish.
Okay.
But we still had people outside arguing, trying to get in because it was like, dude, I put in an order hours ago. Like, where's my food? And it was just one of those. We're trying to get things under control. Like, listen, we're closed. Our staff's getting dressed, and the only way to kind of bring some type of, I guess, quiet the scenery was to call the cops.
So now you know that the business of serving food has to commence by 10 p.m. or to end by 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a quick question. Because I've been informed that there's kind of a unique corporate situation going on with kind of a predecessor version of this business. Who is Inez Vilme?
That is my mother.
And she's still the manager of record?
Yeah, but I'm the one that's running the show now. So I'm running
Is she still involved with the business? Like,
Yes, she's the head chef. She's still there.
okay, all right, so she's still there and working with the
Yes.
business. All right, that's all I have, thank you.
Yeah, I just need to clarify, what time was the last order placed?
The last order, everything was placed during, I guess, in between the 1 or 2 a.m. range. Any last orders was around that range. The only thing I would say is the cops, when they came in, they saw about 10 people inside. I stated to them that those were all staff members. Anything happened outside, that would be on our control. Essentially what's
Like,
going on.
the establishment needs to be closed, like staff included.
See, I
but
wasn't aware of that. I thought staff could help clean up and kind of
Yeah,
wrap things
reasonable
up.
time to help clean up, but I don't think 1 a.m. is reasonable for everyone to still be there. But is that normal for you? Do you guys take orders that late?
No, this was a special event. This wasn't a regular day.
Any further questions from the board?
Nothing further from me, thank you.
Anything further, Commissioner Saxon?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay, with that, the board will take this under advisement as well. Thank you, Mr. Cran, for joining us. Those are all the items before the board this morning. The board will convene to vote on Thursday, September 12th at 10 a.m. Notice has been posted to the city's website. Thank you all and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.